Good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. So today is the 24th of December. Wow. What a powerful last few weeks and days. I just woke up this morning, brushed my teeth, and normally I do a morning practice of what I call the golden hour. So I do which has turned into more like golden 2 hours now, 3 hours and so on, where a mix of mostly always meditation, where I sit in silence or listen to a meditation, yoga, writing, my journal, and a journal or reading an awesome book of some kind. This is my last journal. My mum bought me this for my morning pages. And normally I write 3 pages of stream of consciousness onto the page. And then yesterday I realized that that's what these videos are actually. Like, transparency is just expressing what's going on inside of you. When we write stream of consciousness onto the page, we're just vomiting, we're getting out all the noise. And just because we have a thought doesn't make it real. We just need to get out a lot of the noise. So just to give you, I listen and get so many beautiful messages from the community that we've created with Naked. And today I woke up and I wanted to check, which it doesn't always happen, but I wanted to check my phone. I had a few messages from Mark. It's a friend of ours and a chef on the retreat. I needed to reply to those. And then I saw an image from a reunion that's taken place. So what happens is, after Naked Retreat, we always encourage people as best possible to meet with other people that have been on the retreat in the communities. And when it happens, it fills my heart with so much joy, or fills my whole being, whatever. Your heart is always filled with joy anyways. But heart is life, it's pumping, yeah? When people say, you break your heart, you can't break your heart. It's just constantly giving and pumping and a beautiful life. But still, so I see this and I was filled with feelings of joy, because 2 people have met on that didn't know each other before, right? So it's so for me, Naked Retreat is about the after community, about the community unity, how we come together, support each other. So then I get a message from another Naked ear, Isa, who's having some challenging times with this time of year and the pain body and so on. And I've been having a challenging last 2 weeks. If you watched my video yesterday or day 7 and what I've been sharing, and recently it's I'm just showing up transparently and sharing what's alive in me. And the last 2 weeks since that emotional release of tears on whenever it was, a few Sundays back, there's been this dive into looking at myself and some subtle judgments coming in and expectations that then project out onto the people closest to you, and that people should be different and life should be different, and loads of resistance, and then contemplating what's been and looking at grieving missed opportunities and lost opportunities, as my mum described it. And then listening to everybody. I listen to a lot of people share their path with me, and a lot of people are challenged and don't have community around them. And this time of year is a beautiful time of year. It's a hibernation time, December, the seasons change, it's winter solstice, and there's an opportunity to really celebrate life at this time of year, sometimes more than ever. The original, I was told yesterday a little bit of the history of the original coming together of this time of year was to celebrate light and come together in community and just share each other and be present with each other and share our gifts of listening and connecting, and maybe sharing some gifts that we have to support each other. But it was really coming from that sort of community gathering connectedness. And of course, Christmas has been so distorted in that. Families come together that don't really like each other and end up arguing. So many people feel lonely at this time. Suicide rate goes up. So it's a really challenging time. Group dynamics, family dynamics, expectations are high. Many people spend loads of money on things that they don't even need, and get in debt and getting credit card debt, and try to make it the most happiest time of the year and try to be as friendly and best that they can, and have so many expectations on it. And and then they just never get realized. Often it goes wrong for so many people, and and of course, not to just sound like sort of dense and low, but like, of course, there's lovely experiences too, but there's such a sense of falseness around it. And for me, I think I've just been witnessing some of that, all of that mix of that challenge of not wanting to lose the magic and wonder of life that's here every day, and also wanting to acknowledge and honor ritual and coming together and connection and love and sharing and eating food and acknowledging those that don't have, and bringing, like, for example, going out on the streets and giving to those that really don't have it, or even if it's a hug or a smile and so on. And noticing that, I haven't actually done that. I just sort of got caught up in the resistance of it, rather than stepping into my love and kindness and giving from that place. I sort of, the last 2 weeks, I went into real closure, and I haven't been a nice person to be around with myself. I haven't enjoyed being with myself, right? That aspect of the activated pain body, as I call it, the feeling into all those emotions. And then I listened to a guy called Kaya Pacha, astrology, the Pele report, and listening to different people and that inspire me, and just noticing the turbulent time that we're moving through. Not just Christmas, not just this time of year, but just on the collective turbulence that's going through. And I always refer to a beautiful spoken word meditation from Darpan. I will put the link under this video. It's 10 minutes. It's from his an album that he created of beautiful, let's say, I don't even, what are they? Just guided meditations. They're just meditations. They're just spoken word, inspiration word, but insight and wisdom in them. And Darpan has spent many years exploring with plant medicine, and he's an elder who has really experimented with LSD and ayahuasca and San Pedro and these plant medicines. And I really am inspired by his 10-minute metamorphosis offering to the world, and I listen to it regularly. And so at the moment, and this is like way back, he recorded it a long time ago, so this last sort of 10 years, 2012, even before, of course, it's always continually moving, but really, really turbulent times of so much being brought to the forefront, so much more truth coming out. The internet's unfolded so much more truth. We can get information at a tap of a button. So many systems and things that were not being able to be seen before are now being able to be seen. So people are having discernment and checking in with what is their truth, what's their belief, what is actually real, what's not real. The merging of more artificial intelligence and so so many stories coming out that, like, oh, this story wasn't real, this is real, and just looking how life is really revealing itself in ways that just humans have never experienced. Of course, all humans or all life has gone through its own turbulence and its own chaos and its own transitions all the time. That is what life shows us. The seasons change. The waves come and go. And we're the droplet in the ocean. So we start to, if you have that awareness, you start to feel into that, and at the same time you start to really get the opportunity to look closely at what and who you are and what's your contribution and who are you among it all, even as that sort of separate individual self, which is also part of the big self, but as that individual self, really trying to find out who you are, and what's your role within that. And so that's all been going on for me this last few weeks. And I said to Isabella this morning, I said, like, these videos, I was like, why am I even doing them at the moment? And then I realized these are my morning pages. This is me just really expressing transparently what's going on inside me in that moment. And of course, there's vulnerability, and there's questioning, and afterwards, like, is that just contributing to noise, and is that needed, and it changes now, and how I felt then is not how I feel now. But like, just to be in that expression, that vulnerability and that transparency, for me feels so rich and alive, and actually is my tool. It's just my tool that has continually served me throughout the last, definitely the last 10 years, and continues to serve me by just being real and showing up, and not trying to be anything other than what this is what's alive in me right now. We had this lovely sharing yesterday, as I mentioned on yesterday's video, and I was just really brought back to the power of transparent communication, the power of authenticity. And that authenticity really is, let's say the sharpening of the sword right now, because the authenticity is becoming the new communication of what is really going on, what is really true right now, because there's so many mixed opinions, stories, and all this other stuff. Is we can get lost in that. Yeah, we can get, it's easy to get lost. It's easy to get lost. And yeah, so this is even, I don't know if Isabella will even read this, but she's struggling right now, and when the pain body is active, it consumes us. It's all consuming. It's like it consumes me, it consumes everyone. It is like another entity, because it takes you over. I call it like the black rubber clown suit, or the Michelin Man. It's like putting on this big Michelin suit, and all of a sudden you're consumed by those thoughts, those feelings, those old patterns of pain and emotions and judgments, expectations and shame and guilt and unworthiness, and all of this stuff. And it really does take you over. And many people live their whole life active in the pain body, active in the emotional wounds, active in the trauma, in the suffering. And I'm talking vast numbers of us. Often when I look out in the world, I witness just pain bodies. I spent some time in London a while back, over a year ago or more, and I was just sat down with my mum, and I was observing, and really observing, not judging, just observing and seeing how stressed and anxious and pain and how body contorted and body pain and body closed the humans were. And really really in a fight or flight mode. I could feel it. We could feel it just by observing. So that was really fascinating for me. And I remember sitting with my friend Alex Fairman, in 2014 in Malta, again in the city. And the city is a great place to observe what's happening. And we were doing a very similar thing. So all I want to share today is that I've come out, I know I have, because I've been in these waves many times. I've come out of that density that I was in, and noticing my behaviours, and noticing how I was judging my behaviours, and keeping myself in there, and being hard on myself, and putting the bar high, and really putting myself down. And then I'm noticing that what friends have been experiencing, Suze and Isabella and many other people, Nicola and many other people that have communicated to me, Rob and others that have communicated to me of what's going on for them, the density that's going on for them, and how at the moment they're just really witnessing, how the society, the jobs, the function of society is just not serving them. So yeah, so it's a beautiful time when you have the awareness. The awareness is our greatest tool, and we become alchemists, energy alchemists. So I also put on on our Naked blog the Wim Hof breathing. So I'm sharing everything with anybody who's watching these videos. But Wim Hof is an amazing guy, and he has a breathing technique which anybody can do. But he also does he does cold showers and so on. This guy goes naked, walking up mountains with groups of people. And he talks about alkalizing the body and using the breath to really, generate heat in the body, and among other benefits, like releases stress and depression and in so many things, as breath does. And as you saw a moment ago, I'm reading this book, Science of Breath, which I've mentioned on a couple. But this is like, I just read a little bit the other day. It's like I constantly just pick stuff out of here and realise the power of breath, and how we forget to begin our day with breathing. And so if you're watching this video and you are experiencing some struggle, or you are activated in the emotional wounds and the pain right now, then, go back to the beginning. The beginning was breath, yeah? Go back to breath and really find your breathing. Yesterday I did some breathing, some laughing. I do my laughing practice, as some of you know. And I did yoga. And when I breathe, when I really come back to breath, all that other stuff falls away, all that masks fall away, all that personas fall away. And a lot of the videos that I've been sharing is that, some of that's just mask, some of that's just, my own masks of pain or judgment, or my own story of Simon, or story of life, or judgments on how life should be or how it shouldn't be. And resistance, a lot of it's coming from resistance. So then I can check in with that and go, wow, okay, so that's coming from resistance, so I can look at that and feel into that. So with awareness, as I said, is our greatest tool, and we become alchemists, energy alchemists. The awareness transmutes dense matter, dense frequency into more, let's say, more light frequency, more flow, more openness, more expression. So we literally, with breath and with other tools that I share and other people share, we're transmuting the energy that we are, into different form, different frequency. A bit like tuning in the radio station, So you're 99.8 FM, and it's stressed and it's a bit intense and it's a bit full power, and you need to tweak your frequency, and you're in 100 FM and it's a bit more light and playful. It reminds me of 5 rhythms, which some of you might dance the 5 rhythms. I love 5 rhythms. If you don't know 5 rhythms, dance practice, meditation practice, then look it up. Gabrielle Roth. Many people are sharing 5 rhythms, ecstatic dance around the world. No talking, no drinking, no alcohol, no drugs, and just showing up. And it's a movement practice, a movement meditation. And it's phenomenal. And it reminds me of whenever life is like that, it goes through these waves, right? From flow to staccato to chaos to lyrical to stillness. And you can see that in your day-to-day life all the time with whatever you're going through, and you can move in that. So just not yesterday, the day before, I went to a 5 rhythms it was, and I wanted to dance, I wanted to move, and I wanted to move what I was going through, and I got there, and you would not believe it. The whole wave, this guy had put together a whole wave, an hour and a half of music of Christmas songs. Christmas, not just carols, but songs that people have sung about Christmas, rock songs of Christmas, reindeer, and I was in full resistance of Christmas. Can you imagine? So I'm in there and I'm like, man, this is just the universe is having a full-on laugh with me. Somebody's having a full-on laugh with me. Like all the resistance I've been in around this time of year, Christmas, consumerism, the illusion, the lies, and all that jazz. And then boom, I go to dance to release myself. And the music I have to release myself to is all Christmas songs. Can you imagine? Every single one. And I had full resistance. I moved. I was observing my resistance. I had to move. I had to walk out at one point. And I went back in and I went into the toilet and I had a pee. And I was like, oh man, I've got to go out there. You know what I mean? All I'm experiencing is resistance right now. But I've got to move it and switch off my thinking around judging Christmas and carols and all this, and just try to plug into the bigger picture. And I was able to. But I was able to because music makes me move, and at some point I wasn't moving, but I just thought I just got to go in there and move and keep moving through this. And still I had resistance still at the end, there was still, even after all that dancing, I was just like, what are the chances, and I was still triggered. But then again, I continued. Sometimes the pain body hangs on, it doesn't want to go. You might think it's gone and it's still lingering there, slyly on you like a little thin veil. So we have to be sharp. I'm always saying to people on the retreats and in the work I share with people, you've got to sharpen your awareness tool, sharpen your sword, let's say. So anyway, there's today's. That's what's alive in me today. Thank you all for watching this. If you're struggling around this time, Christmas, coming together with people, then find your space. That's what I've needed to do. Find your breath. See beyond it, see the magic, see the art, see the dance, see the potential, see the possibility, see the wonder, see the gratitude of just being alive and being able to show up and share and sing and dance and be your true self. Drop all the veils, drop the judgments, like, for example, I quickly just tell you this, and so I can talk about this another time, but my older brother Stephen, we haven't spoken for many years and we haven't connected properly. And one of the things that he was super disappointed about in me many years ago is that I stopped celebrating birthdays and Christmas. And I stopped celebrating it because of the theme that I was celebrating it for, the reasons what I was celebrating it for. You know, I haven't stopped being with people and laughing and dancing and having music and celebration, loving, hugging and doing all the beautiful things, but I stopped all the other part of it that wasn't real for me. You know, the identification to these consumer days that are told to us that we should be a certain way, we should feel a certain way, and we should act a certain way at these times when we're told. You know, that's what I dropped. Then it's the same for me at Christmas. But in terms of wonder and synchronicity and magic and awe and the unknown, you know, that I don't ever disconnect from. Even when I'm active in my emotional pain now, my pain, there's still a witness of witnessing me in it. There's still a knowing that that is not who I am. It's an aspect that is taking precedent at that time. It's enough for today. Wherever you are, sending you love, appreciation for being here with me. And I hope wherever you are, you're finding that deeper truth inside. Thank you for listening.